On today's episode, we'll be looking at some of our favorite zombie and survival games.
I'm Mark,
I'm Jonathan.
your host.
Yeah.
That's why he's all dressed up.
My fancy bow tie.
Oh, as we mentioned in our part 2 premiere episode, one of the things we're going to be doing is reviewing other sites that actually review games. We want to just present you what we like and kind of what our favorites are, and just hey, you should check this out setup. But if you want to know more details about the game, board or video game, how it works, the rules, the graphics, things like that, we're going to recommend some sites. And the first one we have is a site by a British guy named John Purkis, and it's called Actualall. He thinks it's called
Actualall.
Yeah, it's called Actualall. John, if you could chime in and let us know. Anyway, this guy, I think he's put out maybe close to a dozen videos now. Not all of them have been board game related, but I really like his reviews. He does his reviews in kind of an episode format where he'll play different characters in a certain theme. Like he had a Viking game, and one was like a Norse god kind of thing, and the other was a fair maiden, and the other was I think he was playing like a toddler or something. But anyway, he, instead of going, okay, and then this happens, then that happens, kind of rule by rule or step by step, he just kind of plays out this little comedy drama that he's written with these different characters, and it kind of gives a feel for the game. And they're really entertaining, they're really funny. I think if you don't even like board games, they're fun to watch. And he's a pretty funny guy, and I can tell a lot of work goes into his reviews. He has a great sense of humor. Again, his one-man show kind of presentation it's really impressive. I don't think he has a crew or a team that helps him put it together, so it's pretty impressive for one guy to do that. And another thing is, he has one of the best lines in any review of board games or video games that I've ever heard. You might find it in a hidden part of our video, just an excerpt from it, and just makes me crack up every time I see it. You kind of have to know a little bit of the tropes and cliches in board gaming, but really funny. So we highly recommend them. Actualall, pretty easy website, YouTube page to find. Actualall or
Actualall.
Yeah, no. The next one I want to present, and Jonathan, he just kind of plays the games that I give him. Hey, this looks like fun, we're going to play this. And he's like, all right, whatever. Or, okay, cool, or no. So he's not going to be talking much on these reviews, but I find them interesting. And the next one I'll present to you is called John Gets Games. And as the subtitle says on the little title slide there, he gets games. This guy just eats, sleeps, and must swallow board games. He doesn't waste any words. He just is really clear in his presentation. He does a few things. He does videos that are basically a review what he thinks. He does rules episodes where he goes through a game and kind of explains here how it works. And he does full playthroughs of some games, usually in a solo format, but you can play as two people. And man, and this guy cranks out the videos. The pace he puts these things out at is pretty impressive. But if you want to know what a board game's like from both fun or not, and the rules, and to see how it's played, if something you would enjoy, John Gets Games. You can find him on YouTube. Really, really impressive, and you can obviously tell he's really passionate about his game. So keep an eye out for him or look for him. Really impressive. And the last one we have is a site for video game reviews. And if you play video games and you have the interweb, you've probably heard of IGN.
I actually know this one.
He knows this, and probably a pretty simple website address to remember.
IGN.com.
Yeah. So anyway, these guys are they're the ESPN of video game and the video game kind of world. Great reviews. They have some cool episodes about news, what's happening in the video game world. They have a daily fix segment, which actually, I think about it, it's a lot like ESPN works. Broadcast quality production. The people that work on it are obviously, you can tell, are professionals that they're good at what they do, but they're also passionate about gaming, and I really appreciate that. sometimes reviewers of video games, I mean, you can kind of almost understand it for movies, but for video games, these guys are trying to, justify their parents spending six figures on their British lit, English Shakespeare, theological, dynamic writing presentation course or something. And that drives me nuts. Just go ahead and have fun with it, but don't be a dork and try and impress me. So I'm going to give you one example here. And this is from a game called Dragon Quest Builders, which is basically Minecraft with...
But not dumb.
But not dumb. It's like these little characters, and it's almost cartoony, okay? And this is a review from a guy named, we're going to give him initials MR, because we don't want to totally throw this guy under the bus, but he actually writes for Time Magazine, and I'm going to try and read this without using my my glasses.
Want me to read it? Because,
Sure.
Okay.
I'm just going to read the top part.
Okay. Wait, what's his initials?
MR.
So, MR posted Dragon Quest...
No, he's a reviewer.
Oh, okay.
So he's a reviewer. He gets paid a lot of money for this.
So, MR reviewed Dragon Quest Builders is instead a beautiful, voxel-informed, crafting-focused, thematically relatable fantasy role-playing extravaganza.
Okay, so you start off with Dragon Quest Builders is instead. Instead of what? What are you comparing it to? You haven't even started yet. And then voxel-informed. Anybody that knows what that is right off the bat, say yes, and we'll send you something, some little congratulations as a prize. Voxel informed, and what is this guy with hyphenated things? Dragon Quest Builders is instead a beautiful voxel informed, crafting focused, thematically relatable, fantasy role-playing extravaganza.
9 big words.
Dude, come on. Keep going.
Okay. Extravaganza. That's better because of its constraints, not in spite of them. It's the sort of thing those who bounced playing Minecraft...
Bounced, get it? Yo, I'm bouncing from Minecraft. Dude. Okay, go ahead.
Bounced playing Minecraft, but still find its crazy everywhere appeal intriguing, should pay attention to, an exquisite Lego-like builder deftly equipoised between structure and free-formed play.
Equipoise. Anyone know what equipoised meant? And I don't think we're saying it right.
Probably not.
I don't really care. You know what? So that was the kind of excerpt that I read, and then I just got disgusted and I didn't read any more of this guy's stuff. But you know what? I cut and paste the second paragraph on here, and it's a little too much, but now that we're live, I'm getting a little angry at this guy. So go ahead and read the second part.
But, and you knew there'd be one, Minecraft's obligations are minimalist and its parameters capacious, inviting players to embrace the preposterous. Its story is whatever you did while playing it, and you can erect stratospheric or subterranean confabulations completely off the leash. Its information distribution meets into the wild. A Thorovian
into the wild, a Thorovian excursion
to a perilous / paradisiacal paradisiacal wonderland. I'll just start there.
Liberated.
Okay, liberated from the hobgoblins of narrative gods.
I mean, Thoreau, Shakespeare, they would have been angered at this guy even bringing their name into this situation. What? Yeah, that's everything I hate in our education system. You pay for big words, but it's just ridiculous. So IGN doesn't do that. The reviewers I'm going to introduce you to don't do that, because that drives me crazy. And if I ever meet this guy, I'm going to at least give him a hug.
First game we'll be looking at is called The Last of Us.
So yeah, it's M-rated, so I'm going to do this one. Jonathan hasn't played it, and I don't let him play any M-rated games.
Well, 2.
What?
Sunset Overdrive and Uncharted.
Well, you watched me play Sunset Overdrive. And Uncharted...
I played Sunset.
Wasn't Uncharted... Uncharted was teen, dude.
It was?
Yeah. So he's wrong. So, I don't know. Just my opinion, don't need that kind of anger that getting, you know, headshotted from 4 miles away in Call of Duty and playing with every foul-mouthed 8-year-old in the world. Just, you don't need that in your life. So he's cool with that. The Last of Us is an adventure action game, survival, kind of horror-ish, zombie-ish game. Definitely not for the faint of heart. This is considered one of the best games of all time, definitely of this gaming generation, and without a doubt the kind of zombie survival game. Let me explain to you in depth how good it is. This is my personal review. I can't play it. So good, they did such a good in scaring the P-Watt out of me, and not from jump scares or gory stuff, just the story writing, the atmosphere they build. Can't do it. Can't play it. So if a game's trying to accomplish a horror, survival, action, adventure, kind of zombie themed game, they succeeded. It's so good, I can't play it. Tried. I know friends that love it. I know it's an amazing game from what I've read, what I've seen. I can't do it. So that's just pretty much a thumbs up reviews you can get, is that it's so good, it accomplishes its goal as a game that I can't do it. So anyway, that's that.
We won't get another shot at this. I want Joel to watch over her.
What on earth do the Fireflies want with you?
We ain't talking about some walk in the park here.
They're coming.
I know!
At least they're predictable. It's the normal people that scare me.
Get a move on.
PlayStation.
The next game we'll be looking at is a board game. It's Dead of Winter. Both of us really like it. I think it's on both of our top 10 board game lists. So pretty much it's a zombie survival game.
Yeah.
And instead of a video game, it's a board game obviously. But anywhere you move you could die. So if you move to like the grocery store to go get some, like to search for food, you have to roll a dice, and if you get the tooth, then you die from a zombie bite. And you have like a 1 in 12 chance of that. That's the scariest part of the game.
Yeah.
But the rest of it's really fun. Like
It's
you have a objective, each player has their own, and then you have a main objective, but one person could also be a traitor, and then they're working against you, but you don't know if they're the traitor, so you're trying to figure out, like, hey, he's not doing what I told him to. Maybe we should exile him. I think that's what it's called.
Exile.
Yeah, exile him. Or maybe he's not the traitor, and you're just working together.
Yeah, so every game, it starts you with a scenario. It's like, okay, here's the scenario you're in. Here's what's happening. What you guys have to accomplish as a team. It's a cooperative game, semi-cooperative. What you have to accomplish as a team is this. And then you each have your characters which have abilities. So what he's talking about there is, based on the scenario, you're trying to all accomplish something together. And, that guy you're playing with is like, well, he doesn't seem to be, doing what we're all doing to accomplish this goal. So is he the traitor? And the tension that builds is, and he could not be the traitor. You choose these cards at the beginning of the game. I think there's maybe 4 players, there's 8 cards, and one of them would be a traitor card. So there's also as good a possibility that no one's a traitor. So you're just suspicious of everyone, but you've got to accomplish the goal of the scenario by the end of the game, and there's kind of a built-in clock progress kind of situation. The game lets you know you're getting closer to the end, and you've also got your individual goals. So you're trying to win as a team, but you're also trying to accomplish your goal also. And as you said, the die roll, when you move from area to area, it's kind of based on this, it's called the exposure die, and the game is this dead of winter. You're in this frozen wasteland kind of thing. So when you move from area to area, you got to roll this dice to see how much exposure you get from the winter, from the cold. And man, just rolling that dice is
Every time it seems like it teeters on the tooth.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
yeah.
I don't know if they planned on it being the brilliant part of the game, but I mean, we could just sit with that dice right now and no game and roll it and probably be as frightened for the outcome as anything else. And you kind of, you're kind of playing as your character. One of them's actually even a dog, so you don't want your dog to die. You don't want the character you're playing as to die. So it really strangely, it's like, oh, that kind of hurts.
The good thing about the dog is he can't die from the zombie bite.
Oh, he can't die from the zombie, but can't he pass it along?
Yeah, he can, but
He can pass it along. So we both,
everyone can.
that's true. So we both really like this. I wouldn't say it's for the casual gamer. What I mean by
Definitely
that,
not.
yeah, is the kind of Hasbro, kind of game, Monopoly Life, those type of games. It's more for someone that's a gamer that enjoys kind of this new era of board games and advanced players. People that have it can teach it to you, but I wouldn't run out and get this unless you're kind of familiar with the new kind of generation of board games. But that's Dead of Winter.
The last guy.
Last.
Okay.
It's pretty close.
That's how they say it in the
When the game starts.
title screen. Yeah, when the game starts.
Instead of a ding,
Yeah.
ding, 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 the last guy, it's like, the last guy.
Presented by Hindustan Electronic Company Limited.
I would do anything to have this game on a newer generation system. The reason being, it actually uses like Google Maps images, real images of Tokyo, London, Los Angeles, and some other places. I think Perth, Australia. And so you're looking at top down of this map, and what they've done is they've built this software that actually knows a street is a street, an alley is an alley. And so your guy is running, this little caricature is running through these streets and then running into buildings or people outside of buildings and saving them. And like you said, it's kind of like Snake. They kind of then follow you around and your line of people get bigger. But it's so cool that you're running around these real locations around the world. If it was made today, I mean, I don't see why you couldn't, with the press of a button, just, on your PS4 or whatever, or even like an iPad would be cool. You just bring up a map and it knows, what's what, and says, okay, you got to get the people from here to there, ready, set, go. I mean, you could do it in your neighborhood, you could do it anywhere. And at essence, it's kind of like a overhead Pac-Man-like game. But it's just, I don't know what's fun about it. It's just one of those, you can play, kind of mindlessly play this forever.
Now we're going to be looking at another board game, well, more like a card game. It's called Smash Up. You have multiple factions that come in the base set of the box, and there's zombies and there's ninjas and there's robots and dinosaurs and stuff. And you can take you get two factions, and you shuffle the decks together and you have one big deck, and then you have bases on the board and you're trying to take control of them, and then your cards have numbers on them and they have certain abilities, and once the total numbers of the cards get to the base number, then the base breaks, and whoever had the most points gets the number 1 spot, and then the next gets the number 2 spot, and the next gets the number 3 spot. And I don't remember how many points we played to, 20 or 15 or 20, and pretty much when you get to 15 or 20 points, you win.
Yeah, so it's, gosh, how can I take this down to basics? Just a really more complex, involved version of war. So you've got, my faction might be the zombie robots, and he might be the alien pirates or whatever, and kind of each faction works like they would. Pirates steal, aliens, what do they do?
Abduct.
Yeah, they come and abduct, so they abduct different cards. Zombies kind of, if your card gets beaten or you die, they come back from the discard pile. So you're trying to, but instead of one game of war, there's 3, these bases he talks about, and you're trying to ultimately win, these bases that each give you points, but you're trying to use the strengths of your faction, and also the strengths of your faction against the weakness of the other factions. So now, zombies came in the original, which I think had 8 factions. Now there's close to 20. Kind of gets out of hand, and it's really fun. But we'll probably put this in every category we can shove it into because it's so much fun. But it has zombies in it, and we love it, so we put it in there.
I don't want to do this one.
Okay. Jonathan doesn't like this game, so he's going to let me do the review. This is Zombicide. It's a cooperative game, and it is the closest board game comes to the feeling of a video game.
After the dead begin to rise, the world around you can be a dangerous place. If you're a zombie, that is. Too much scientific experimentation has led to hordes of the shambling dead. You are one of the lucky few who have escaped infection. There's only one way to survive in the ruins of the undead apocalypse: Zombicide. Zombicide is a new zombie survival board game for 1 to 6 players by Guillotine Games. Play as cooperative, and you work together against the zombie hordes. You take on the role of these survivors: Amy, who hated the world when it was normal, and now hates it even more since becoming filled with the undead. Doug, the quiet guy from the office that just happened to have 2 Uzis around when his coworkers began to rise from the grave. Josh, the street thug who once cared only for bling and cash, now fights for respect and reputation. Crazy Ned, the crackpot conspiracy nut who was ready for the zombie apocalypse long before it happened. Phil, the cop who still polishes his badge and patrols the streets despite the fact that most of the people he used to protect and serve are trying to eat him, and Wanda, the roller skating waitress who put up with the weirdos during the graveyard shift for years, now has to deal with the weirdos from the graveyard. Zombies are controlled by simple rules, always shuffling towards the nearest visible survivor or the loudest noise. With 4 different types of zombies and random card draws, there is a risk-reward choice to make at every turn. Each game should only take an hour or so to see the survivors victorious or served up as a meal for the Walking Dead. Zombicide's modular board tiles and random zombie interactions make each game different than the last, even offering the opportunity to create new and potentially more hair-raising scenarios. So, grab your machete, load your shotguns, and tuck a few cans of preserved meat into your belt, because in Zombicide, you're in it for the long haul against all odds. Will you be able to send the undead back to the grave? Or will you soon be joining them in the never-ending chant for brains?
The kind of simplicity of the characters and weapons, you know, you've got a baseball bat, and you got a chainsaw, and you've got, you know, a hammer, or whatever you would have in a zombie-type video game. The zombies are placed in the beginning of the game on this big board, and the board always changes again based on scenarios. And that's one thing I really like, is games that have different scenarios that mix up the gameplay all the time. You put these zombies out, and it'll say your goal is to go from here, to go pick up that whatever in that building, and then bring it back over here. And as you know, you're rolling dice, you're moving throughout the game. The zombies are moving towards the closest person, so you got to be careful your character doesn't do things that make noise, because then everyone kind of goes after him. But what you're doing is you're trying to kill the zombies, but each time you kill a zombie, your kind of XP, experience points meter, goes up, and when it gets to a certain point, then
The
bigger
zombies get harder.
Yeah, the zombies get harder, more difficult to beat, and also they're better at coming after you. So you kind of take turns. Okay, the players have gone, now the zombies have gone, and then you pull some cards out, and zombies, they spawn again. So after every round of turns, more zombies spawn. So as the game keeps going, it gets harder, and more zombies come out. So it's just like what a zombie movie or a video game would be. It's just kind of this never-ending building, and when you're playing it, it really feels like that. The models, little miniatures, are kind of cool. They kind of have that feeling of, you know, oh, that guy's kind of would scare my character. Jonathan doesn't like it because...
Well, one of the things is if
yeah.
there's an open door, you can't shoot through it. That's dumb.
No, you can't shoot. You can shoot into a room with an open door, not into another room. You can't shoot 2 rooms.
Okay, so you can't shoot into 2 rooms that both have open doors.
Yeah.
And if you're shooting into a street and your friend is in the other side of the street, and then there's like 12 zombies on the other side, the first thing you hit is your friend.
So a lot of board games, people will pick them apart. That pieces of the game or elements of the game are broken, and that's the big complaint against Zombicide. Is if you've got 8 zombies in this one area and one of the heroes, you, and you want to shoot those zombies, you roll the dice to see how many hits are taken, but the first guy that gets a hit is your own guy. So some people can't get past that. I can kind of see that reason. I mean, they had to do that to balance out the game so it wasn't unfair. Otherwise, you just put all your heroes in one area and go to town. But you know, if you were across the street and you shot, and there were 10 zombies and one person, and you know, unless you've got a sniper rifle and they're standing still, you don't know who you're going to get. So some people can't get past that. I'm like, it's part of the game. He can't get past it and just doesn't like it very much. I find it really fun to play solo. It takes a big table to play, but and they've come out with lots of expansions. Like one's now in a shopping mall, and then one's in a movie set.
Dogs.
Yeah, dogs. You have your dogs that'll kind of go out and do some of the dirty work for you. So I really like Zombicide. I wish I'd get him to play more, but it ain't gonna happen.
The next game we're going to look at is Sunset Overdrive. I think we talked a little about this earlier.
This is my second all-time favorite video game.
It would be on my top 10, but and it didn't make it. So basically, you're just I don't even know. You're in an apocalypse kind of, except instead of zombies, it's mutants that drink soda.
Yeah, you're in this hyper teenage soda pop kind of world, and this company called Fizco is trying to kind of take over the minds of the people, and it's mostly, you know, youth, teenage-oriented kind of culture, and they make this drink called Overcharge, I think.
Overcharge.
Yeah. And you know, you're trying to kill, destroy all the people that have mutated from that. Let's give it a second to explain. So this hits on all cylinders for me. It's ridiculous, it's over the top, it's action, action, action. It's, oh my gosh, I can't believe I got to do that. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I got to, you know, run on that wall and then jump to that wall and then grappling hook to there, and
well, grappling hook, but
yeah, and or you know, grind on that thing. It's just got so many elements that keep things going. You know, you're top of it, riding on a train or a car, and your weapons are over the top and kind of
teddy bears with dynamite.
The weapons, the design of it, everything's just the opposite of subtle. It's just over the top crazy. The enemies that you fight are all these different kind of factions that are making fun of or kind of tweaking the essence of groups like LARPers. LARPers are live action role players, and if there's any live action role players out there, you know, God bless you. It looks like fun when you go out in the park with, you know, boogie boards for shields and pool noodles for swords, and you look like you have a great time, but you got to understand there's going to be some heat come your way because you look kind of silly. So they kind of take that trope and kind of that group of people and just mess with them and make them kind of ridicule them, but they're also they're smart enemies in their own way. There's also another group that's kind of like teenage samurai Girl Scouts, and that kind of follow that Japanese J-pop feel that's really popular in the Japanese culture and crossing over in the American culture.
I don't think it's called J-pop.
I think it is. What's it called?
K-pop.
K-pop. Well, we don't script out these shows, so we're not sure, but we'll let you know in the notes. Anyway, I love this game so much. It just means a lot to me. It's
you can
great.
Also, customize your characters.
Oh, customize your character. So my character is this big, you know, like roided up guy, and on him I had him in a diaper, and then like a king's robe, you know, like a red robe with like leopard trim, and then I think a pimp hat, and you know, he's running around. You see his like butt because his coat's flapping in the wind, and you can dress them up however you want. Dress up. Well, that sounds weird coming from a 55-year-old. Wow. Anyway, you can equip them, or what would be another word than dress up? Yeah, I don't know. But really, really fun. Love Sunset Overdrive. Highly recommend it. And you can only get it for the Xbox One, which is too bad. This is Zombie 15. Zombie 15 is another miniatures game. And miniatures games tend to be more expensive because obviously they cost more to make. But it wouldn't be the same if it was just little pieces of cardboard on the board. And what it is Zombie 15 has two meanings. It's a zombie game where you're playing as these 15-year-old teenagers that are, the whole world's kind of ruled or populated by them. And also the game takes 15 minutes. There's a CD, a soundtrack with different versions that come with the game. And what you're doing is you've got this board set up, and kind of like Zombicide, you've got these scenarios you have to finish. So it'll say, okay, you know, your group of heroes starts here. You got to wind through all these city blocks and, you know, destinations and neighborhoods, and, you know, get the radio to call for more help or whatever. And as you do that, again, the zombies keep spawning. You kill zombies. Different things happen. Then on the soundtrack that's playing, you know, not just for entertainment, but it'll make a growling sound. That's pretty close, wasn't it? And then you take this bucket of zombies and you put more out on the board wherever your guys are. So you never want to hear that sound because you might be safe. And then if you haven't passed to the next person yet, then those zombies come out where you are, and if you're not ready, then you don't die, they knock you down. And then there's the soundtrack, as time goes on, you know, heartbeat gets faster and faster and stronger. And then there's times where there's a different growl that you basically, all the zombies that you've killed end up in this box, and you got to pour all them back on the board. So things can really get out of hand.
It's the end of the world as we know it. Every human being over 18 has suddenly turned into zombies. Chaos reigns all over the world. Only a few teenagers have managed to stay alive. They have to run. The horde is destroying everything in its way. They have only 15 minutes to survive. Zombie 15, starring Snow, Trevor, Siphon, Vance. Survive hordes of zombies in this exciting new cooperative board game in real time. You have only 15 minutes to think fast and make the best decisions together. Run through the infested city. Kill hundreds of zombies. Loot new weapons and equipment. Try to complete all 15 chapters of an epic campaign where each of your choices will have consequences in the following scenario. The game includes amazing components, detailed miniatures of all the heroes, zombie miniatures, 30 unique tiles to play the campaign and to create your own scenarios, more than 100 different weapons and items, a thrilling soundtrack with 3 difficulty levels that keep the game moving. Do you have what it takes to survive? Find out with Zombie 15.
I like this game just again because it's for a zombie game. It's kind of fun and colorful. It's again like Sunset Overdrive. It's got a lot of orange in it. Not a fan of orange, but it seems to be the least threatening, the opposite of dark red, black, and gray for a zombie game. So I like the humor in it, the art style. My wife played it and kind of enjoyed it. I don't know why he didn't like it. I think it's because he's 13, doesn't like really anything. So
This game I actually like a lot. Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare.
me too. It was in your top 10.
I like it more. Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare, the first one. Second one's not very good. So, in Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare, it's kind of a long name, you're taking the characters from Plants vs. Zombies, the original game, which is like the pea shooter, the cactus, and all the zombies, and you're putting them in kind of like a first-person shooter online multiplayer game. And the weapons are silly, like if you're a pea shooter, you're just going to shoot out of your mouth. It's going to be like big bombs, kind of, and if you're the cactus, you're the sniper, and then if you're the chomper, you're like the close range fighter. And
If you're the chomper, you're what's that? You're being a
Venus
fly trap, and you go underground. So there's this fighting going on. That you can come up and chomp guys. Go ahead.
So you're basically just playing against other people, and there's different objectives like control the or like gardens and graveyards, which it's like capture the flag, and then like vanquish or something like that, where you're just trying to get the most kills or vanquishes, and then you get coins from winning games, and then you can buy sticker packs which unlock you new types of those characters.
It's like card packs, like foil card packs.
So like if you unlock all the fire pea shooter stickers, then you can choose to be the fire pea shooter instead of regular pea shooter, and you might have like decreased damage, but overall the fire pea shooter might be better because he does damage over time if you get hit by his fire pea shooter because you're on fire. And then like I think there's no very overpowered characters, but if you play the game for a while, you'll eventually get the camo cactus, which like the regular cactus, he's a regular sniper, but the camo cactus, he's hard to beat.
This game's E for everyone. To make a first-person shooter, any shooter game E, I think this game is brilliant. To compare first-person shooters to Call of Duty, for example, Call of Duty drives me nuts. At least most people play for the multiplayer. And for the average person like me, if I try and play multiplayer, door opens, I walk out into the, then I get some headshot from some guy, half a mile away who's got some, scope that he's been earning XP for the past 17 weeks to get. And it's just unfair. Like, you have to be really, 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 really good to have a fair, fun time in Call of Duty, in my opinion, the multiplayer. It's a cross between people just being absurdly good at it, having really quick twitch reflexes, which I don't, and just having too much time on their hands. So for someone like me, I can't survive at all. This game still has the fun of a first-person shooter. It just doesn't have, first of all, it doesn't have the violence. There's not blood splurting and all that stupid stuff. But it's perfectly balanced. Like, we've played 100 hours of this game and can't really find anything that's broken or overpowered or weapon that...
Except for the camo cactus.
Yeah.
But he's still kind of hard to use.
I think he's just good at that. But that's so impressive because each character has unique weapons. None of them do the same thing. So to have it that well balanced is just insane. I have a friend, what's his name again?
Bob S.
Bob S. He turns me on to tons of different games. Hey, you should try this, you should try that. And I've only asked him to play one game in my whole life that I've known him, and he won't try it, and it's this. And it's not because he's some bloodthirsty Call of Duty guy. I don't know why he won't do it. And it hurts my feelings because we're friends, but he won't take my advice. So love it. The characters are fun. The game's fun. Like Jonathan said, the second one came out called Garden Warfare 2. Not as fun. Much more to do. We just think
story mode.
Yeah, there's more to do. We don't like it as much.
There actually are characters that are overpowered in that one.
Think so?
There's this one like character on the Plants team, like Rose or something, and her bullets like travel to the closest player, so you never miss.
Yeah.
And she does like she's too good.
Yeah, and there's situations like it's like I don't want to say a pinball machine, but your team has to roll a ball into this hole on the other side of the. It's just stupid. But really like this. This was, I think, my number 11 all time. When we did our top 10, I had to leave it out just because I've been playing 5 decades, so there's a lot. But highly recommend this game. Adults, kids are going to be evenly matched if you play. Loves some Plants vs. Zombies, Garden Warfare. I don't even like the franchise Plants vs. Zombies, the IP. Huh?
I do.
I don't. So I love this game. Awesome.
So now we're on to a board game called Posthuman. This is another survival game. There's kind of a lot of these in this episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's another apocalypse, but this time it's mutants. Unlike Sunset Overdrive, it's a board game, A. And B, they're not soda drinking monsters that try to attack you. They're mutants from some sort of disease or something.
What I wouldn't give for a rest in some company. Yet the fortress is still out of sight. Shouldn't be too far now. Spent the morning hiking up to the tower. It was well worth it. Mountains to the east, forest to the north, and a small city to the west. The mountains would have been a safer route, but slower. The forest a great source of food, and the city held the promise of a better gun than this dinky old pistol. It was berries or guns. I went for guns. Today I snuck around the city rummaging among piles of forgotten junk. At some point I crashed into an apartment containing a group of haggard children and 2 adults. They begged me for food, and I was about to leave them there whimpering when a wave of compassion washed over me and compelled me to give them my last can of beans. I have no idea why I did that, but it feels good, somehow. The Pure One smiles upon me at last. While searching for underwear at the bottom of a wardrobe, I came across my new love, a recently oiled SMG with a full ammo clip. I'm gonna call her Dolores. Just as I left the city, I was drawn to a sweet melody in the distance. I followed it, and met a cheery traveler sitting around the fire strumming away at a ukulele. His good mood was infectious. I gave him a bottle of Haribo vodka, and he gave me 2 boxes of ammo. Dolores will be happy. At some point he asked me about the scar on my arm. I said it was nothing and changed the subject, but his face darkened, and the music stopped. I can't sleep. Images from that encounter still haunt me. The bastard mutant ambushed me from atop a tree branch and pinned me to the floor. He tore a chunk of flesh from my arm and landed a horrifying bite before I dug my knife into the side of his skull and kicked him off me. The wound has closed, but the pain still writhes inside me. The weather has been brutal. Rain, wind, and now snow. I'm tired and hungry, but I must press on. There seems to be more of the damn mutants the closer to the fortress I get. Soon there, just a few more days. My body is a patchwork of scars. I must get out of this cursed place. I need a dose of civilization before I become like them.
You're trying to first one to this this fortress wins, but the best part. What's the best part?
If one of the players takes too many scars, then he turns into a mutant, but he's like a super mutant, so then you're playing against the other player and you're not trying to get to the safe house anymore, you're trying to kill the other player.
So the way he wins is trying to stop the other players.
Yes.
So it's kind of, so if you're if you're playing them with multiple people, you can play it solo also. If you're playing with multiple people and you're lagging, you're just, everything's not going your way, and you start taking too many wounds, too many scars, well, instead of being out of the game, you're gonna basically die or turn or switch to a mutant. Now mutate, mutant, pretty good. So now you have one thing to do in the game, and that's to stop the other players from attaining their goal. So you're going to win by stopping them, and it's really pretty fun. So you're happy if you're doing well because you might win, but if you're starting to obviously lag behind and take too many scars, you're like, well, I might just turn mutant, and you're toast. So that's a really fun part to it. The game, again, I don't think it's for casual gamers. Even though we play a lot of board games and kind of tabletop games, more gamer games, the combat dice system takes a lot to get used to. It's just not normally, like you have okay, I roll bullets, you roll shields, count them off kind of thing. It's done a little differently that makes sense, but even though we've played a couple times, it's still like, you kind of do the image, and they're images, not numbers. So you kind of got to, this. Okay, I think I got it there. So that's the only real negative thing I can say about it. It was in his top 10 all-time favorite board games. So we really like it. It's no zombies. It's just that survival. And it is. A lot of things are based on finding food, finding weapons, and then these creatures come out of nowhere and kind of fight you, and they're kind of crazy.
Well, that was the end of our zombie and survival game reviews. We hope you enjoyed. Maybe go down in the comments and leave a comment, like, and subscribe. We have a Facebook page.
We'd really like you to subscribe to the YouTube channel, because then we can, if we get 100 subscribers, then we can change the address to YouTube/GAME-A-PALOOZA or something like that, instead of YouTube/67Q143 Blue Omaha or something like that. So
The board game industry treats fantasy the way a 6-year-old treats ketchup. They stick it on everything.
I love ketchup.